In this video, I'm going to take you guys along to look at the British PLCE webbing system, or belt kit as they call it. This is a system that's interested me for years, and now that I got one, I think I actually understand why this was a very commonly issued piece of equipment, and still is. They're kind of modifying their stuff to kind of go 21st century and lighten up their loads based off the different warfare. But if you're like in a militia, or you're actually preparing to fight as a team, like in a conventional sense, I guess you could say, a Red Dawn scenario, this actually wouldn't be a bad idea to, a bad piece of gear. It wouldn't be a bad idea to get a piece of gear like this, is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, first things first, you got to understand that this system is basically designed so that the soldier or whoever can be self-sufficient. It has enough capacity to be relatively self-sufficient for about 18 hours. You could push it to 24, but that is kind of pushing it depending on the combat scenario or whatever, or the kind of mission that you're conducting. So anyways, there's other things that I don't have in here. I don't have like a Gore-Tex. There are actually metal clips right here. You can actually attach like a knife sheath or a bayonet sheath with these two pieces of webbing right here. And you know, you have room on here. Like the Brits like to put sandbags on the top here. And I substituted the metal rings on here with 550 cord because one of the metal rings actually came off. They were pretty cheaply put on, but these are all sewn on pouches. There's no modularity. There are companies out there that sell different versions of this, just so you know. So you can have like a saw pouch that carries like 6 rifle mags or whatever. But this specific one that I have does actually fit. Each one of these pouches will actually fit 2 308 mags, like a G3 or, you know, PTR 91, HK 91, whatever nomenclature you want to identify it as. So anyways, with that said, I could also have extra stuff put on a plate carrier or whatever. I could substitute something for a radio or whatever, but I have the contents that I have, and I'll go ahead and lay it out in this picture just so you can kind of see the bulk of it. So in that picture you can see that it probably looks like I have a lot of stuff, but realistically I don't even have this up to capacity where I could have it, and it's not even as heavy as it could be. But let's go ahead and talk about why I set this up the way I did. So first things first, this is my support side. This is my firing hand side, so just keep that in mind as we're going. So I'm going to start from this side and move this way. So first things first is the magazine pouch. Right here at the front, it has a little storage pouch. It's kind of flat, but I'm actually able to fit this Benchmade in here. This Benchmade folder. This is basically a utilitarian knife. This is not a fighting knife, but this is something that I've always found to be useful in the field. Utilitarian knife rather than a fighting knife. If you want a fighting knife, you know, put it on a plate carrier or strap it up here or something like that. You can do that if you want. But have like a fixed blade for a fighting knife, and have something that's quick to get out, not something that you have a bunch of retention straps to screw with. So now let's go to the, and it's right in front. So before I get to this, this pocket is right in front, so it's very easy to get to. Typically when you need a knife, like for utility purpose, you want it right there, easy access and everything. And if you had to use it as a fighting knife, then yeah, it's right there, whatever. But anyways, here I have 3 5.56 mags, and as I said, I could have 2 308 mags, and I can actually fit 3 of the Steyr AUG Magpul mags in here as well, pretty comfortably. And also at the bottom here, I have an actual bandage. It's like a Carlisle bandage. It's just a dressing. So it's an old school dressing. It's just it does a couple of things. Number one, you have extra medical stuff on you. It's underneath your mag pouches, and it's on the side that you're going to be occupying your rifle on. So this is more of a scenario where you've got time. Maybe you're able to set your rifle down and care for a casualty or whatever, but you have extra medical supplies, and it pushes the magazines up. It lifts them up, because without this, these things would be dang near flush with the bottom, and they would be pretty hard to pull out. You wouldn't have much room to get to them. So this is a method that was used in the Vietnam War by some units. They would be able to have some more medical stuff on them to help treat teammates that got hurt, but it also helped with pushing the mags up, so it was easier to reload and get to them. This is more my extra ammunition supply anyways, so it's not really that big of a deal, but you know, I could still actually put some more stuff in here and still have room because I got a full Velcro panel, so I could actually conceivably get it up to here comfortably and still have the magazines camouflaged and securely held. But with these 5.56 mags, I'm able to get down to the button and secure it with the button, so you know, that's just what it is. But these metal mags are basically just for me to have weight on this belt to train with it if I want to. So anyways, next one. Again, same situation, 3 5.56 mags, or you can do 2 308 mags. And then under here, I have a cravat or a triangle bandage. So this is good for, you know, slinging arms and stuff, making splints. And it's to the rear more, so I have to lay down my rifle and it's back more. So basically I really do have time to do some medical work if I'm able to get to this bandage. And that's basically the idea, is just putting it out of the way and basically putting stuff that you'll use or you're more likely to use in areas that are more easily accessible. So that's the concept behind that. So I'm not really going to be using this side all that much. These 4 pouches are not really going to see all that much use. This one can, because I can still cross over and reach it. So, you know, conceivably I could have my rifle out and still pull this while I'm holding on to my rifle with a firing grip. So now let's go ahead and go to the first utility pouch, or water pouch as they call them. So here I have a 1-quart Canteen, and I have some nut raisin mix, and I have 2 Kim lights. I could always have more. And this is basically if I'm marking something, like if I'm scouting and I have to mark a position or a trail or whatever, I have Kim lights, and I could also always get like the miniature ones or whatever. It's just, this is just props basically. So then I have a main meal, if I wanted to pull one out without having to take off my rig and get back here or whatever. And then I have a drink mix. This is more of an emergency drink mix. It's like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little dehydrated, so let's take 5. Post security, take 5. Get this in, get some electrolytes in me and some water, and there you go. So that's the method behind my madness here. It's not something that I'm looking to get to right away, but I don't want to have to take off my gear to get to this kind of stuff. I'm taking 5, I got time for a meal or a snack or whatever, I have an extra snack here. That's the concept behind this. So basically repacking it, least likely chance is to be completely dehydrated. So I have that at the bottom, and then I basically scrunch up the meal and fold the flaps up and along the walls facing upwards. Then I have the nut raisin mix towards the back, and then I put the Canteen in, or you could do it vice versa. Actually, that's probably a better idea. Have the nut raisin mix up front and the Kim lights up front closer, because you're more likely to signal or have to leave a signal than you are to, you know, need water or chow or whatever. So lead that as close forward as possible, so less time, you know, reaching in, and you can even flip this up and get to a Kim light if you need to. So anyways, now to the main utility pouch, actually the designated utility pouch really. First things first is an IFAK. This is a tactical tailor pouch. I have, you know, miscellaneous medical stuff. I basically just filled this up as best I could with stuff. This isn't exactly the stuff that I would use. It's just basically filler items for training purposes, I guess you could say. So it's an IFAK. It's an organized thing you can pull out, and then you can open up and get to work if you needed to. So if I was actually using this rig to actually use, I would probably either pack this according to what I need, or have something that I slip in, and it would probably actually be a little smaller than this, already be like vacuum sealed and ready to go with a little tear in it, like a little cut tear, because I can vacuum seal my own gear and keep it nice and small. So I have an IFAK, and I have a poncho. Now, You can either do a poncho or have a Gore-Tex if you see, if you actually see like rain in the forecast, or there's a high likelihood of having inclement weather. But this is a multi-purpose piece of gear. This can act as a shelter, kind of camouflage, because it is camouflage color, and it's very lightweight. So this is not something that you're going to want to place against your body while the rain is coming down on you. You're going to actually want to suspend this and treat it like a shelter. Kind of keep the rain off you or keep the sun off you or whatever. So it has multiple purposes. Anything that you can do with a poncho, you can do with this. And I also have another main meal. And then I have 550 cord right here, obviously for like setting up shelters, you know, basically fixing any problems, because these are off of 550 cord, these straps. And then I have an emergency drinking straw, basically, so I can filter the water and I can drink through this straw. It'll come through here. I can filter, you know, however many gallons I can filter. It's an emergency filter, so if I'm really in that kind of dire straits. But you could always get like water purification tabs, but that does take time. If you are actually in an E&E type of situation, this thing is lightweight. It is very light. It has almost no weight to it at all, and it has almost no size profile. So, you know, I would think it's pretty common sense to have something like this in there. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. So we'll go ahead and put this down, 550 cord at the base, and then shove the meal down, shove the poncho down, and then shove the IFAK with the clip facing the body so it doesn't snag as readily. Because if you have it facing here, it could get caught on the seam. I have had that happen, just kind of practicing how it would come out. And I basically use the adjustment cord as something to pull the IFAK out with. So let me go ahead and shove this in here. And clip it up. There we go. So that's something that, you know, I obviously have time to deal with it, or, you know, somebody else is going to get to it and reach it. And I could even reach it if I needed to treat myself, but I would have medical stuff and tourniquets on my person in pockets and stuff like that, probably suspended from gear and stuff. So just keep that in mind. So now, let me go and move over to here. Ooh, this is going to be a long video. Hope you got popcorn and drinks. Anyways, this one. This is the one that I would primarily use on quick rest stops. Have a Canteen. You can actually substitute this for a little bladder. There's quart bladders that you can get that are about this size, where you could actually fit it in here and basically loop the straw. And I actually am going to look into getting that, or you can actually get a straw system for Canteen so you can put it through the top. So it's a lid with a straw system, so you can actually get water from the Canteen as you're moving, and you don't have to really worry about having to pull it out to get a drink or whatever. So that's a consideration for those of you who are going to complain about me using the Canteen. This is just for training and, you know, basically just to have weight. So anyways, then I have a wheat snack bread. It's very quick to eat. It doesn't crumble very much. I like them. They're delicious, I think. So another wheat snack bread. This one's kind of crumbled up, but you know, whatever. This has been used so many times. Usually, if you're actually out and doing stuff, a lot of this stuff is going to be fresh anyways, and you're probably going to be going through it because chow is constant. So anyways, then a nut raisin mix. This is very good energy and stuff, but it is going to be something where you're going to be taking 5. You're going to have a little bit more time on your hands to get to it, so you do have to get under the Canteen to get to your food, but it's basically resupplying your pockets, because I would already have stuff like this in my pockets, like a peanut butter, a cheese spread, or something quick that I can get to. But this is basically just a backup, and the stuff throughout here is a backup to my backup when I actually have time to like maybe take this off, or maybe I can put down my rifle and just chill out and take out the Canteen to get to some of this stuff. So just keep that in mind. That's the method behind the madness. From my experience, I actually do put food in my pockets and stuff like that. I stage it so I can get to it on the move, because when you're actually out on patrol and you're burning calories, believe me, you're gonna want a snacky poo or some pogey bait or something. So that's what we call snacks in the military. So that's that. Now we move to the support side, my speed reload side. So here I have the furthest back mags, and at the back end here I have electrical tape. It is likely that I would need to have electrical tape for maybe passing off to somebody for setting up a demo charge or something like that, but it also acts as a lift for the magazine, so I can get them higher up for ease of reloading. So same principle applies. I'm going to have something at the bottom to lift these up. For those of you who don't really fully understand what I'm talking about as far as needing to lift them up, these pouches do angle downwards a bit, but these are designed for the Stanag mags. Look how much exposure you have here. Not much to grab. And you typically want to grab like this, so you don't have very much room to grab it. The higher up you lift it, the better. To a certain point, of course, because this can get blocked. It is pretty thick. It does have a storm flap on the inside of the mag pouches, not so much the utility pouches, so make sure your stuff is waterproof if you are going to put it in there. Radios and all that other good stuff. Naked pictures of your girlfriend, whatever. So, go ahead and close that up, and we'll go to the last mag pouch. Again, 2 308 mags if you wish, and cami paint. So if you're actually conducting like a long patrol or whatever, you're in the jungle or whatever, camouflage is obviously, you know, important, because obviously this is camouflage and it should be appropriate camouflage for your area, but you want to be able to camouflage yourself. And you're going to have to do it constantly because of sweat, and you know, if it's raining and stuff, you'll have to reapply it. So having a cam cream or something like that, or a camouflage paint, I would recommend something like this, like Predator War Paint. This is pretty good stuff. It can also act as it has like 50 SPF, but it's pretty good stuff. I got it for free from SHOT Show for like years ago, but it's pretty good stuff. I do like it. So there's that. And now finally, probably one of the most controversial pieces of equipment on this build is a white light. Yes, a white light. Why would you need a white light? I don't know. Replace it with a red lens, or get like a clear red tape and put it over the end if you're really worried about it. Set this to the lowest setting, like right here, and then you can use it for map reading. Put like a clear red tape over it, and there you go. You can work with it at night or whatever, but really should probably be having NVGs. But I put the lens up instead of down, but that's just because, you know, here it's not really going to get hit that easily, and having this flap over it, I have a flap over it, so if it does go off, I mean, this flap protects it because it's this actual like rubberized under. It's a rubberized material, so the light's not going to go through it, nor is it going to reflect very well. So, anyways, that's that for the contents. And yeah, I could replace the poncho with a Gore-Tex, and I could load this with 308 mags. I could substitute canteens for bladders or whatever, or at least one of them for a bladder. But I already gave you guys a solution to that, and I do still have room for like a radio. I could actually still fit a radio in here. I do still have room, but depending on the radio or whatever, and I could move around some of the food or whatever. So yeah, I do still have options. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and talk about where this thing shines. Obviously, it would shine in an area where you're basically you're going to be out for a while. You're going to want, you know, about 18 hours of sustainability. And yes, you can bring a pack with you for extra stuff, and you probably will, but it won't have to be that big of a pack. You won't need it for necessarily having extra water or whatever. This right here bears the weight better than pretty much any system that I've worked with. So when you have a plate carrier on, you could have it slick. Like, that's how I actually had mine on deployment, is I had a slick plate carrier with an LBE over it, or an LBV or whatever, with all my stuff on it. So I was able to take it off and still have my body armor on. But with this system, it's actually more comfortable to have the this on first and then your body armor after that, because you're more likely to take off your body armor and just run this for mobility purposes, obviously if you're out of the military. But you can still do it vice versa. You can still wear your body armor and this, you know, over it. It's not really going to hurt it. This typically comes in under the body armor, so that's why it's not going to be a hindrance. It typically rides low. So this is actually a pretty natural area for you to do a speed reload from. So it just takes a little bit of practice making sure your mags aren't snagging. Like with the regular Steyr mags or Steyr AUG mags, I actually had to basically face them with brass facing forward, or the bullets facing forward. That way I could actually grab them just going straight down and grabbing them. I was only able to fit 2 of them in each one because of how short and fat they are. At least the base pads or base plates are very fat on the Steyr AUG mags, but the Magpul mags are nice and skinny, so you're actually able to comfortably fit 3 in each one of these pouches. So it brings my, you know, capabilities on par. But they are taller than the Stanag mags, so they do come up a bit, so I don't really get button closure as well, so I am more at risk of the Velcro kind of giving away my position, if really that's a concern. But pretty much everybody's using Velcro on uniforms these days and stuff, so, you know, whatever. It is what it is. So anyways, so basically like long patrols, or if you're on like a long-range reconnaissance patrol and you're basically worried more about mobility than anything, you can have your equipment on you, can have a backpack, and it doesn't interfere with a backpack, believe it or not. Have the backpack on the way it's supposed to be, and you're really not going to have that much of an issue. And even if it is resting on this load-carrying equipment is set up so nicely, and the way it's suspended on your shoulders and stuff like that, and working on your hips, it's amazing how much weight you can actually carry, and it doesn't feel like all that much. Right here, you're looking at about, you know, 25 pounds of stuff here, and I could load it down with more, and I could put on a plate carrier and carry more mags in the front if I wanted to, and a camel back on the back or whatever. But I mean, I got so many capabilities with this system as far as like gear clearing out. But you know, it's all on you to decide how you want to load it out. But you don't even have to have these loaded up to full capacity. Realistically, you could shove, you know, nothing in some of these things. You could move some of these things forward. If you're only carrying like 6 mags, you have these 2 filled up, and then you have the rest of the ammo in a backpack or whatever, and you fill these up with like food or whatever. I've seen that happen. I mean, I used to put cigarettes and dip in my grenade pouches. So, you know, it is what it is. You get to choose in the end. But I appreciate you guys sitting through this long video, but I just wanted to go over the system and kind of share how I set it up, at least for this kind of scenario, and, you know, set up my props. But with that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and leave a comment below about how you would set it up, and, you know, systems that you actually find to be pretty efficient and basically across the board without having to, you know, change stuff around like pouches and stuff. I like these sewn-on systems. But anyways, with that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and you guys have a good one.